I really enjoyed Sunset Boulevard. I actually forgot how much I like older movies, so was happy to get reacquainted with a black and white film again. Although I do wish it had been in color, only because I would have loved to see the vibrancy of the sets and the costumes. I really enjoy that in movies, especially Norma's house and all of her opulence and finery. The New Year's Eve scene would have probably been my favorite in that regard. There's something about the drama of the acting and accompanying music that I get caught up in with black and white movies. And I find the writing to be thoughtful and poignant as well. I so enjoyed the dialogue and banter between Betty and Joe and found it to be extremely funny and witty, especially in the Rainbow Room scene. And when Joe visits Betty at her office at the studio. I found all of the relationships in the film to be incredibly bittersweet. With Norma and DeMille, the way he felt sorry for her, and how she clearly still looked up to him. The way Max wanted to protect Norma at all costs. And of course, Joe and Betty were the tragic love story, with her being the younger, naive girl and him the older, jaded man. And ultimately, Joe did care about Norma, which was very sweet to me. And he was so distraught and went rushing to her side when he found out she had tried to commit suicide. In terms of Singing in the Rain, I do like musicals a lot and love to watch tap dances. So my favorite scenes in the movie were definitely the tap dancing scenes. The one with Don and Cosmo during Don's diction lesson, Good Morning with Don, Cosmo, and Kathy, and of course, Singing in the Rain with Don. I found it to be an interesting commentary about how fickle the film industry could be, and I thought it was very smart in its presentation as a musical, comedy. And I felt like I actually got educated about how talkies affected and changed movie production. I also liked seeing how the evolution began from silent films to talkies. There are production staff that had to figure out how to deal with microphones, background noises, actors moving about, etc., which was something that they had not thought about before or had to consider. And then there's the fact that some of the formerly famous actors and actresses had a hard time with the transition as well. With silent movies, the overacting, exaggerated facial expressions and physicality was necessary to make up for the lack of sound and dialogue. But with talkies, there were other talents that emerged as being important and that needed to be showcased in order for a film to be successful, like the tone of their voice, realistic acting, and singing. There was a huge shift in what talents were needed to be successful once sound in films was introduced. The movie certainly made me appreciate all of the behind-the-scenes production obstacles of movies during that time. And I loved seeing all of the costumes in color. That was definitely a highlight for me. Sunset Boulevard is a more serious, dark, and cynical look at the movie industry of the time. It shined a harsh light on how it could use people up and cast them aside, how it ultimately wore them down and diminished their self-confidence and self-worth. The storyline was told in a sad and tragic way. In comparison, the musical Singing in the Rain presents a comedic take on how the movie industry changed, which in turn caused actors and actresses to adapt or run the risk of being left behind. It poked fun at the industry and pointed out the faults and negative sides in a comical way. I think it's a little hard to compare the two movies because they are so different. But overall, I enjoyed the plot, writing style, and acting of Sunset Boulevard more than Singing in the Rain. I found Singing in the Rain to be a little slow in some places. On the other hand, Sunset Boulevard kept me hooked and interested the whole time. It's amazing how harsh the movie and entertainment industries have been, even dating back to the beginning of films. It's sort of a sad commentary on an industry that is meant for the public's enjoyment, but in the process of trying to provide entertainment, it can end up causing so much damage to those who are the shining stars in that very industry. I gave Sunset Boulevard an 8 out of 10 because I thoroughly enjoyed it, and even though Singing in the Rain was entertaining and fun, I only gave it a 7 out of 10 because as far as musicals go, it was not my favorite.